Hello, welcome to Career Hub Present, our live program, Meet with Scholars. As per request from viewer from other country, today our program will be in English. Today our guest, Mr. Tarek bhai, who will discuss how we can go to Netherlands directly with a job. Please share our program so that other can also participate. And now I welcome in Tarek bhai and starting our program. Hello, Assalamualaikum
Hello.
bhai. How are you?
Hello. Walaikum salam, Zairul. How are you doing?
I am fine. And you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
doing good as well.
what's
And
the COVID-19 situation in Netherlands now?
well, it's everywhere. It's getting worse. Especially in Netherlands, it's very now we are getting our second wave, and it's going out of control because every day a lot of people are getting affected. And I think Netherlands is in a very worse situation in terms of getting infected by COVID, but the death rates are very low, so that's something's positive. But people are not listening to their rules, and everywhere is the same. Like since March, they have been inside their houses, and they are really bored. So they went out in the summer. They went out to travel and on vacation. So they contracted a lot of COVID, and then after they came home, the numbers are rising fast. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's a good thing is like the people are not dying, but I can't be positive about it. But still, people are doing their best, and the government is doing their best. Everybody's working from home. I'm also working from home. We're trying to contaminate it as much as possible. The wearing mask in the public transportation is mandatory. But the government did mandatory wearing mask in public space and public places. But I think it should be mandatory too. But I don't know. I mean, Dutch people are very, very liberal, and they don't really like to take orders. That's how Dutch people are. So not include that includes the government as well. So yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe this situation will get better. The government implied some really hard rules very recently. Um, so let's see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. Yeah.
Hopefully it will be well soon.
So yeah,
So
hopefully, fingers crossed, man.
yeah,
Hopefully it will be better. Yeah.
I think now we can start our main program. Uh,
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen.
sure, please.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So hello everyone, the people who are watching, people who don't know me. This is a little introduction for myself. Who am I? I'm Tarek. What am I doing? I am in the Netherlands working as a DevOps engineer at the Chamber of Commerce in the Netherlands, which in the Dutch they call it KVK, which is Kamer van Koophandel in Dutch. That's the government organization that is responsible for getting all the information from the business. So let's say you're going to start a new business, you have to register it with KVK. So we have all the information of all the businesses in the Netherlands. So what our businesses is basically, let's say we sell information, just like Google, Oracle, or Facebook or any other information or any other social media, but we are not really social media. We are the Oracle hub of all the information on all the databases, the information of the businesses of freelancer, any person who has a business, a group of companies, or a single person. We have all the information, and it's mandatory. It's lawfully. It's by law. They are. It's obligatory to everybody who start to own a business or start a business. They will register with Kavika. So all the banks and all other money laundering companies, where when you apply for a loan or something, they will check with us. They will ask us, hey, this person is going to apply for a loan. I'm going to see what are the financial statements, what is his or her situation of financial situation. So on that basis, we sell information to those banks or those financial organizations in terms of money, of course. So they pay us, and we give them information about certain individual or certain companies. And I'm working here as a Java developer mostly, but my role is DevOps, so I also do deployment. I've been working here since July. I've been living in the Netherlands for about 5 years now. This November, coming November, will be my 5th year. And today I'm going to talk about, as you already know, that talk about what are the ways to get inside, get into the Netherlands, or what are the situation are. Why would you do it? And if you want to do it, what would be the situation? What would be the cases that you need to consider before you want to migrate to the Netherlands? It doesn't matter which part of the world you are right now. Maybe you're in Asia, maybe you're in Africa, maybe you're in somewhere else. The rules apply to everybody. It's the same rule applied to everybody. So, which is basically why I'm actually doing it in English. So it would be helpful for other people who are also watching it. And also some of my friends who are right now in US, in other countries, in Russia, and other countries which are still watching it. They will understand, and they will get more information from there. So yeah, this is what I am so far. For a very short introduction, I'm more than what I am right now, but just for the talk. And yeah, and I like traveling, which is for the COVID. It's very difficult right now. I'm very bored. But of course, I like also music, so that's fine. I have my own, I keep myself entertained, and I like yoga, so I can do it at home. I'm trying to get myself fit right now. I hope you guys are also doing really great and doing your best to stay good, stay healthy in this whole situation. So let's proceed further. In which way we can enter in the Netherlands? So these are the ways of entries, right? So here you can see, you can enter in the Netherlands as a student. It can be a bachelor student, can be a master student. And in order to get inside in the Netherlands as a student, you have to have an offer letter from university. So it doesn't matter which university you're going to study to. Yeah, you can apply online. You can contact them online. And it's very easy. It's very easy to get inside in the Netherlands as a student if you really, really want to study. And you can also study in English, because it's not necessarily has to be Dutch. You can study in English, also in bachelor's and in master degrees, and also in PhD if you want. But it depends on which university you're going to study. It differs. So which subject, which university, you can choose. But there is no best or worst university in the Netherlands. Like in the US or in Canada, when you apply for a studentship or a student visa, you have to look at the ranks. Hey, okay, this Columbia University or University of Harvard or Oxford, these are the top universities, or I want to get into one of the top universities to get a great job after I graduate. But in the Netherlands, and as well as EU, I can say, there are no such ranks. So they will never ask you which university you graduated, as long as you has a degree. So don't worry about when you're applying for a degree or whatever, or studentship. Don't worry about which university is the best or worst. Just apply it. Just get a subject, the subject that matters. So which subject you're going to study. And the second thing is as an entrepreneur. So entrepreneur, it means you want to start a business in the Netherlands. So in that case, you have to show some funds that you are capable to start a business. So if you have the right name and have the right amount of fund, you can apply for a visa or apply for an entrepreneur visa. We call it a business visa. And for business visa, you can get inside the Netherlands as a businessman. So you can't work for somebody. Once you get inside the Netherlands, you can't work for somebody, but you get a job. Let's say you came as a businessman, but you don't want to continue your business anymore. You can get a job, and then you can go to IND, which is Immigration and Naturalization Service. In Dutch is Immigratie en Naturalisatiedienst, ind.nl. There's a website. They have a website, and you can go there and they have all the information. But that organization of the government that deals with the immigration and naturalization for foreigners. So you can talk with IND. Let's say, hey, I came here as an entrepreneur, but I got a job. So now I want to change my visa. So they will get you a new visa based on what kind of job you got and based on your contract situation. So it's a 1-year contract or 5-year contract, or it's unlimited period of contract. They will give you an ID valid according to your job contract. So let's say your job contract is 5 years, so your ID will be for 5 years. And then you can get a knowledge migrant, which is my situation. I came here as a knowledge migrant. So what is a knowledge migrant? A knowledge migrant is a migrant. He has special skills, like the skills that the country needs right now. So the skills that let's for example, computer skills, software development skills, architectural skills, design skills, testing skills. So there are some specific, but most of them are technical. So if you are really good at like research, development, you are very good at data science, or you're very good at blockchain or whatever. So you possess some special skills that they're actually looking for. So for my case, I'm a software developer, and right now, and also when I came in the Netherlands, the demand of software development was always very high. So if you have experience in software development, or if you have a degree on software development or computer science or electrical engineering, or any kind of a degree but with some experience in software development, you can apply for a knowledge migrant. And how do you apply? Where do you start? I will explain it in the next step. And the next part is the partner with Dutch nationals, which is pretty obvious, right? So if you get a Dutch boyfriend or a girlfriend or a spouse, yeah, people don't get married here at all. I mean, they get married, but they wait, let's say 10 years, 20 years together, have kids. And then if they have a feeling, if they have a good match, then they get married. So marriage is not a concern. Basically, it's a partnership. So what we call a partnership is like basically two person, could be a guy, girl, because it's a very liberal country, could be a girl and guy. So they go to the gemeente, which is the municipality of the Netherlands, and they enter as a partner, let's say. So they are staying together, they're sharing everything with each other, debts, liabilities, assets, same space, taxes, everything, which is basically marriage, but not marriage. So you are in a partnership. Means you are partners. Socially, you are together, but you're not married, so you can stay together. So if you get a Dutch partner, based on your partnership, you can come to the Netherlands as a national, as a partner of a Dutch national. But if you get separated or your partnership get broken, let's say you broke up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, in that case, your partnership ends. And that means your visa also ends. But just to make sure, so you came, every category of the visa has this flexibility. Let's say you came here as a student, but you got a job. So you can still apply for a job visa because you got a job. You have a letter, you have a contract. So on basic of that contract, you can apply for a job visa, let's say. And it applies to everybody. So you came here as a partner, let's say, but you got a job. And then you can go apply to a job visa. Let's say, hey, I came here as a partner, but now I'm working. So could I apply? Could I get a job visa? But the decision to give you the job visa or not based completely on the immigration deeds, so immigration service. So they will decide. They will ask you for papers based on your papers, based on your contract, based on how your salary, everything they will calculate, and then they will say, hey, I don't think you are eligible for a job visa. Maybe you should earn a little bit more, or maybe you should try somewhere else. If not, they will give you a job visa. So it's completely up to them. But there are some rules that you can check based on this criteria. You can be sure that, yeah, if you apply now, you can get a job visa, or you can change your category of the visa that you came in the Netherlands from. And the last part is the refugee, because refugees are everywhere in Europe, and a lot of countries are taking in, especially from Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Afghanistan. Those countries who have a lot of problems politically, and also their people are killing each other. So you are asking for social asylum. You can do that in the Netherlands, but there is a catch. What's the catch? If you come here as a refugee, you are a freeloader, basically. You don't work. The government will take care of you. The government will give you money, give you a place to stay. But what you want to do in return, they ask you to learn Dutch as much as possible, as soon as possible. And then they will try to push you into get into the economy. So they will train you, they will put money on your development to make you a person who can work in the Netherlands. So the Dutch society, a Dutch economy doesn't ask for people who are freeloaders. They prefer people who can work here. So even if you're a refugee, they will invest on you to make you workable, let's say, to fit in the Dutch society, in the economy. So this is the ways, this is the criteria that you can get inside the country. Today, I'm going to focus on basically on the knowledge migrant part, because the other part, my knowledge is not really broad, let's say, but I know how it works. So I gave you a kind of a basic information. But if you really want to know in the detail, I suggest you to go to www.ind.nl. There is a website. It's the Immigratie en Naturalisatiedienst. You can just Google also Immigration and Naturalization Services Netherlands. If you Google that, you can get that link. And that site is also available in English. So it doesn't matter if you don't understand Dutch, you can change the language to English and you can read all about it. How you can get inside, how there are ways of entries, and if you really want to naturalize what you want to do and everything, blah blah blah. So I'll go from here. I'll go to the part in detail where you should look if you want to come to the Netherlands as a knowledge migrant, which is the most lucrative part. Why I am saying lucrative, it has its pros and cons, but I will describe it right now. I think if anyone have some questions, he can ask to Zorul, and you can also, I think the link is shared already in YouTube and Facebook. So if you have questions, just stay there in the comment section. And Zorul, please let me know if you see any questions on live so that I can answer them right away.
Sure, bhai.
Okay. Right. So I will go from here to my next step, which is describing what you should do if you want to come to the Netherlands as a knowledge migrant. So what you should do as a knowledge migrant to come to the Netherlands. First of all, you have to understand what are the job fields are. So you are, let's say you're a software engineer. But not software engineer is very vague. It's very in general way to say software engineer, because you can, as a software engineer, you can be expert on C++, you can expert on C, you can expert on embedded systems, you can do VLSI design, you can do chip designing, you can do microprocessor programming, you can do web development, game development, you can do Java, you can do C#. There are a lot of ways that you can go as a software engineer. So you have to look for what are the company, what are the job field right now. How do you do that? Very simple. LinkedIn. One word, LinkedIn. The Netherlands, the Dutch job requirements, the Dutch job environment, or the whole situation, the recruiters, the companies, and the recruiters from the own company, and even your manager, everybody look at the LinkedIn. So please work on your LinkedIn. And I always say to other people, do not use LinkedIn as Facebook. Do not share religious views, religious posts, or cat pics or whatever. Like if you really want to get a job from LinkedIn, you have to make sure your profile is clean. So focus on making a good LinkedIn profile if you really want to look for prospective job fields. So in LinkedIn, you can search for the companies, search for the openings. I gave you a link here, which is also a link from IND. These are the list of organizations who can get you inside, get you to the Netherlands, who can hire you from outside, from abroad. Because those companies are eligible to get people outside Netherlands. So as a knowledge migrant, you have very, very small, not small, but you have a limited set of options. You can't apply every company in every company. There are selective companies that you can apply. And also vice versa. There are selective companies that can get you inside the Netherlands as a knowledge migrant, let's say. So if you're a knowledge migrant, you're a special guy, and that's why you can also work in special companies. So what makes those companies special? Because those companies ask IND, the immigration naturalization teams, that hey, I want some people, or I am some really high skilled migrant outside Netherlands. I want to get them inside. Give me a work permit. So they apply to IND, and IND, based on the company status, based on how much money they earn every year, based on their profile, they give them a work permit that allows them to get people outside Netherlands from outside Netherlands to inside. In my case, I also applied in a company at a company where they are able to do that. But apparently, I didn't know anything about it. When I applied, I didn't know anything about maybe we have a set of companies and everything. I thought, oh, that's a company in the Netherlands. So I apply and I got a job. So I moved to Netherlands. But it's just more complicated than it is, which I knew later on. But initially, I had no idea if that company can get me to the Netherlands, or if that company says what it says, what it will really do. I had no idea. But I researched later, and then I found out that that's how it works. So it doesn't matter if, okay, let's say so you came to the Netherlands, but if you want to switch jobs, what I did after 4.5 years, you also have to look at that list, because your options are only in those lists and those companies. But the good news is those lists update every day. So every day there are new companies, they're registered with IND, they are able to employ the knowledge migrants. So that means your options is getting higher every year. And there's another thing that I need to mention here is the salary. So what is a good salary in the Netherlands? What can you expect? Don't worry about it. If you are there here as a knowledge migrant, there is a minimum salary set by the government. So no company, no employer can give you less than that. Where can you find it? Go to ind.nl. There's a list of salary specifications for knowledge migrants based on their age. It's not only for knowledge migrants. Let's say you came here as a student and you got a job. So what would be your minimum salary if you have a job? So you can look there. There is a list of based on your age and based on your situation. There are some some blocks they made it based on your on the scales of your salary, that how much it should be, the minimum salary. So minimum you can earn that much. You know it beforehand. So if someone wants to give you the less, he can't. First of all, they can't. But if they want to, you can say, hey, you can, because this is my minimum salary. So you have to give me that much. And trust me, I'm not getting into those numbers, but trust me, those salaries are more than enough to stay in the Netherlands and live here. Because usually the knowledge migrants, they earn a lot. Not a lot, but compared to other people, their minimum salary is really in a range that is arranged that they will not die in hunger, for example. So you have to make sure that happens. But actually, you don't have to do anything. You just have to find a company that is listed and apply there. And if you get a job based on your age, you will get the salary. But that's the minimum salary I'm talking about. But if you say, hey, my minimum salary is this, so the employer will know, this guy already knows. So for my case, I didn't know. So when they asked me, hey, how much do you want? I said, I have no idea. I never been to Netherlands. I've never worked there. So whatever you give me is fine. Because my thought was like, I want to go work in Europe. So that was my thought. So they gave me a normal salary. Yeah. So it's like not the minimum one, but a little bit more than the minimum. But later I discovered that, okay, that's fine. But then my salary got increased because I showed that I'm what I'm capable of. So you can do the same thing. But first of all, but I don't want everybody to end up like me, like don't know before what you're getting at. So just do your research, go to the site, IND site, look at the employers, and work on your LinkedIn. And also, if you want to apply somewhere, look at the LinkedIn, because if you Google, or if you search the company name with the LinkedIn, you can see the company profile and you can also see the jobs that they're offering right now. So you can directly apply from LinkedIn, and which is very, very, very convenient. And you can get your CV directly to the people who you really want to go, really want to post. So in that way, you don't need any agency, you don't need anything. The Dutch job market is 90% based on your LinkedIn. So make a good profile, put all the experience that you have, and do some certification, whatever. Make a good LinkedIn profile, but don't lie. Just do what the best you can, and also make a CV at the same time. So that's just in case when you apply in a LinkedIn, they will sometimes ask you your doc CV or PDF version of CV. But don't make the CV more than 4 to 5 pages long. Minimum 4 to 5 pages is fine. So work on your CV, work on your LinkedIn. First of all, work on your LinkedIn because that's your face, and then and also you can work on your cover letter, which some companies also ask. When you apply, they ask for a cover letter, which is a letter that you shows your interest. You show your interest. Why are you applying in this company? Why they should hire you? And what kind of what is your specialty? And so in a very short way, within 300 words, you can write them down, and you can send them to the same to the company if they ask for a cover letter. So three things: LinkedIn profile, your CV, the cover letter. Make it ready. If you're applying for a company, for a job, make these things ready and updated. At the same time, look for the companies that can hire you. So just don't apply blindly to a company which can't hire you. So there's a possibility they will not even reach out to you. So normally I can give you a hint. Let's say I can give you it's like base names of the company. Let's say there are a lot of consultancy companies, like the companies who rent people to other companies. So they kind of rent you to their clients, and based on your hourly rate, they get paid, and they will pay you on that hourly rate. A lot of consultancy companies, they're everywhere, not in the Netherlands, they're in US, they're in Canada. I believe there are a lot of people also working. They also talked in this program. They are also consultant in different countries. So consultancy is very, very common thing here in Europe and in America and North America, but not in the Asia, because the Asia people they tend to work more with an employer and not really via. But here is the consultancy business is very, very popular. So all the consultancies, mostly, or not all, but mostly the big consultancy firms in the Netherlands, like Capgemini, Sogeti, Sim Solutions, there are a lot of consultancy firms, Ethos. They hire people from outside. They have the work permit. And also there are some big shops like Oracle, Booking.com, Bol.com. They are big companies in the Netherlands. They also hire knowledge migrants. But those are really big companies, and they're very international. Bol.com is Dutch, but they're getting international. So the big companies that definitely have, and the banks, definitely. The banks, ING, Rabobank, ABN AMRO, all the banks, they have work permit. So even if you go to the link and search ABN AMRO, you can see the ABN AMRO is already listed. So they can hire you as a knowledge migrant. So just do your research, look for the companies that you really want to work with, and work on your CV, work on your LinkedIn profile, work on your cover letter, make it ready before you apply, and make sure that you read the requirements before you apply anything. So read the requirements, and if you want to tweak and turn or update your CV based on the requirements, you can do that. This is what you should do, how to apply, and where to look if you really want to come to the Netherlands as a knowledge migrant. The next part is education and qualifications. Do you have to be an Einstein? Do you have to be a PhD? Do you have to be a master? No. I would say not necessary. If you have a degree, you have a bachelor, more than enough for the education qualification. It's more than enough, because the job field here, the workforce here, most of the people who work in the workforce are don't even have a college degree. What I mean about college degree is the university that we call, right? So if you have a college degree, you're graduated, and you are graduated in, let's say, computer science or electrical engineering, applied science, economics, whatever, but you know how to program, which is enough for you to apply if you have experience. But if you don't have experience, then maybe it's better that you have some technical degree, some diploma or some BSc or whatever, some honors, whatever. Master is fine, but I think the master outside Europe, they don't consider that as a master, because the master in Europe is different. They expect specific credit points to earn. So if you think, oh, I have a master, I have a double master, but maybe it's not enough, it's not good enough for Europe. So don't go for it. I mean, I'm not saying don't go for it, but if you have a master's, fine, but don't expect that that will have effect on your application. Maybe some companies will take it to account, but mostly I didn't see it happen so far. Which is also for the reason I didn't go for my master yet, but I really want to do my master anyway. So that's the education qualification. So it's not very hard and fast that, oh, you have to have a 4.7 CGPA. No, you don't. As long as you have a degree, it's fine. Because in my opinion, what I faced so far, nobody asked me which university you graduated from. What were your results? Nobody asked me that. Nobody. I didn't get a single question like that in 5 years. But what they asked me is, do you have a degree? Yeah, you do. Okay, cool. Do you have experience? Cool. What you can do? All right, so you have this experience, you have this experience, this experience. Cool. We work with this way. Can you do this? Yep. This is what that matters. How motivated you are, how good you are, you can do stuff, right? It's not about, I mean, I had bosses who had less educational experience than me. I had a boss who had a MBO, which is what we call graduate or high school graduate. He didn't even pass college, but he was my boss. So it doesn't matter. So it doesn't really matter, the educational thing. But definitely it matters when you are coming outside the Netherlands, because then you have to show stuff, right? So for people who are getting outside Netherlands, once you get inside and once you get a job, that's it. Nobody will ask you anything, even though nobody will even ask you which college, which university, as long as you have a degree. Okay. So next up is the immigration process. Okay, what happens? Say you apply, you have the educational background, you have met a job, and you have got a job. So someone gave you a job. What will happen? Nothing. I mean, nothing from your side. Everything will be taken care of by your employer. Everything will be done. You don't have to do anything. Just employer will ask you to collect your visa from the embassy. So if you have an embassy in your country, the employer will apply for an MVV, what we call it here, which is a migration verification process. They will apply at the IND, and the IND will take control, and IND will contact the embassy of the Netherlands, and the embassy of the Netherlands will contact your country's embassy, and your country's embassy in the Netherlands will contact the embassy or the consulate at your country. So you will be called, or you will be asked to go to the embassy to get your visa, or to set your passport with your picture, let's say. So you have to submit a few documents, which is your birth certificate, and your all the certificates that you have, the education certificates, has to be notarized. So that part you have to do. You have to notarize all those certificates, your education certificates, your birth certificates, your passport, everything, your driving license, which is very important. I'll get to that later. So these are the documents that you have to notarize. That means you have to go to the notary and you have to say, hey, I am the person, or you know how it is, the notarization works. Every country has a different way of notarization, but you have to notarize every document. And then you submit them to the embassy, or better yet, you submit them to the employer, and the employer will get those documents from you, and employer will do the application part. You don't have to take any headache. So your visa is arranged by your employer. Your ID, you'll get it the day you get inside the Netherlands, and also the registration, because the ID and the registration is the same. So you get inside the Netherlands, let's say today, you will be taken to the IND at IND office at your area. Let's say in my area is Utrecht. So if you come to the Netherlands from Amsterdam, you landed on the Netherlands. But there's one thing that I need to mention is your health insurance, because health insurance is mandatory for every person in the Netherlands, even the person who doesn't work, even the person who can't pay the premium. The government will arrange some health insurance for them. But as for a kennismigrant, for a knowledge migrant, I'm sorry, I'm speaking Dutch sometimes. I'm sorry for that. Anyway, so for the knowledge migrant, employer will take care of your health insurance. So they will apply for you first of all, and then because for applying for a health insurance, you need your registration number, which you can get after the registration at the municipality. But some health insurance you can apply without a registration number. So for those, your employer will look for a health insurance and will arrange accordingly, or will tell you to do so. So either way, it has to be done. But that's not a big hassle. This is not something that you should be worried about. It will get automatically. So this is by law. You have to have those. So before your employer take you from your country to the Netherlands, they have to make sure that you have everything in order. So you don't have to do anything at all. You just have to talk to your employer, and your employer will tell you, or your sponsor will tell you, when to go to the embassy, what kind of documents do you need to submit, and how do you submit it. But for my case, it happens the same way. So my employer told me what you have to do, and I did the same, what they told me to do. So this is what you should do. And the other part I need to mention about the driving license, which is very important to mention. Why? Because in the Netherlands, it's not mandatory that you have a car. But if you live in the city, let's say, in a busy city, you really don't need to have a car. But if you live in a small village like I do, I used to live in a city, but now I bought a house, and now I moved to a suburban area, which is very nice to live because less crowd, less everything, less hassle. Then you really need to have a car, and it's always good to have a driving license with you when you are coming to the Netherlands. Why? Because as a knowledge migrant, if you have your driving license from your country, you can exchange it with a Dutch license for free, €0. So you don't have to pay anything. You come here as a knowledge migrant and you have your driving license with you. You just go to your municipality office and say, hey, I want to exchange my driving license. And they will exchange it for free. So they will take your driving license, they will send it to your embassy, which country you're from, based on that, and then they give you a Dutch driving license for free. But if you don't have a license with you, you are in a trouble. In a trouble in a way that if you really need to drive a car or really need to have a driving license, then you need to pass the exams, which is, I think, the most difficult exam in the world. So if you really want to pass the driving test in the Netherlands, and if you really have to, man, first of all, it's very expensive. So normally you have to take driving lessons, which cost €30 per hour. So based on how good you are at driving, you have to pay. So per hour, 30 euros. The theory exam costs 40 euros for English speaking people, and for Dutch speaking is 35. I'm guessing you don't speak Dutch when you come here, so 40 euros for you. And the practical exam is the most difficult exam in the world. If you can pass this exam in the Netherlands, you can pass it anywhere in the world. So apparently not a lot of people can pass it. So normally the exam fee is 200 euros. So if you can't pass it, you have to apply again, pay 200 euros again, and apply again 200 unless you pass it. And the theory itself is very, very difficult. I mean, I passed it I didn't have to do it, but my employer asked me to do it. So I did it the first time, I failed. And the second time I passed. But it's not a difficult exam, but it's basically, if you don't have a driving experience before, it's very hard to pass. It's not you can memorize, or it's not an math or science exam. It's an exam that based on completely a practical experience. So if you don't have driving experience, it's very difficult to pass this exam. So I suggest you to take your driving license with you, because a lot of countries, let's say for a lot of countries, getting a driving license is not so very, very difficult, right? You can just pay and you get the license, right? I'm talking about not for everybody, but talking about specific few countries where you can buy a driving license, for example. So it doesn't matter how do you get it. You get the driving license before you come here. And that can save you a lot of money and a lot of time. But I suggest you to do the theory exam anyway, because the rules in Netherlands are different, especially people from outside the EU. Because in Europe, the roads are different, the signs are different, you drive in a different way, and you drive a different car. Because usually from people from China or other countries in Asia, they have a lot of very, very huge traffic. So driving an automatic car is very, very convenient. But here, a lot of people drive manual. So you need to know how to drive manual. If you don't, get some lessons, learn how to drive manual before you come to Europe. That's my tip, because you can drive an automatic here, but the people who drive here automatic here are the people who are disabled, who doesn't have a hand or a leg. So you get the point, right? So you have to, the people who are good, who are fit, they don't drive automatic. So, and also the automatic cars are very expensive. So if you want to buy one, you gotta pay a little bit more. That's the driving license. And the other thing is the taxation. I think you guys already know that the Netherlands is one of the most largest taxed countries in Europe, in the world so far. Because the taxation is very, very high here in the Netherlands. Especially if you work, you will see every month, you will see half of your salaries are gone to the government. Usually the taxation is very high in a sense, if you're a millionaire, let's say, you have to pay 52%. 52% to 62%, 61%. That means if you earn 100,000 per month, you have to give the government 62,000 from there, and then the rest is yours. So you're not really a millionaire. So your half of the money will go as taxes. So this is like one of the most highest taxed countries in the world. And why I mentioned taxation as a knowledge migrant part, because there's a catch. The knowledge migrants get a tax cut. So if you are a knowledge migrant and you come to the Netherlands to work, you don't have to pay the normal tax rate. You pay a special tax rate, and that's 30%. That means it doesn't matter if you earn 2 million euros per month, you pay 30%. But that will not go forever. Huh? That will go only for 5 years. So for 5 years, till now, before when I came, it was 8 years. Before that, it was 12 years, but they cut it short to 5 years. 2019, 18, I guess, yeah. So since then, all the migrants came as a knowledge migrant. They pay 30% taxes for 5 years. After 5 years, you pay the normal rate. And for 30% taxes, you can save, based on your minimum salary, you can save about 5 to 6,000 euros a year for taxes, which is a lot of money, and which help you to pay your other stuff, because the house prices in the Netherlands are also very high, and rent is also very, very high. Especially if you're staying in a city, if you want to live in a city, in the city center, that's a city center in Utrecht, is crazy. First of all, you can get a house, like can get a rental house even. It's very, very difficult to find one. And there are some agents you need to pay, you need to, there's a lot of mess over there. So first of all, you have to get a house. And second of all, it's very expensive. And it's getting expensive every year. But also, your minimum salary is also increasing every year. So every year, your minimum salary, the amount of minimum salary gets revised. But that doesn't mean that your salary will get increased with that. Your salary will stay the year you came. And then based on your employer, if they want to increase your salary, they can. So it doesn't mean that your salary will increase anyway, but based on the market situation, based on the house prices, based on the economy, they increased. So never get decreased. I never seen it decrease. So it gets increased every year, 80 euros, 100 euros every year. It gets increased, the minimum salary level, as a knowledge migrant. So it's a perk. You got a taxation. So there's a lot of things that you can get as a knowledge migrant, which normal Dutch people can't. And they will envy you because you are getting you're paying less taxes, you're earning more, and you get a free driving license. That's a sweet deal. But at the same time, you need to pay attention that your job has to be secure, because then you have cons are you have limited amount of options. You can't just work anywhere. When you switch jobs, you have to work on those selective organizations, on those selective companies that are listed in that link that I gave here. I will share it later on. I'll share it with Zorul, and he will share it with you guys. Hopefully it will be fine. So these are the things that you really need to take care of. One thing about, since I mentioned about the accommodation, and I mentioned also it's very expensive. It is expensive, especially if you're in the south of the country, because the south there are most activities, like especially when you are in a country where if you live in a capital, there's the most activities in capital. You can go out. There are a lot of places that you can, more facilities, more places to see. It's a big city, more opportunities. Amsterdam, Utrecht, Den Haag, Rotterdam, Eindhoven. These are the big cities that you can expect really, really high rental prices. But if you go to the north of the country, it's much less. It's much cheaper to live there. Not so much cheaper, but a little bit cheaper. But I suggest, depends on where you work. I suggest you live within 50 kilometers. If you have a car, I suggest you live within 50 kilometers of your workplace. Because, as I mentioned, Netherlands is the most populated country in Europe. So you will expect some very, very big traffic when you are going out. Not now, it's a COVID situation, so everybody is working from home. But if you really want to go to work every day, I suggest that you stay or live within 30 to 50 kilometers of your office, because you will expect a lot of traffic in the rush hour, especially. So it's 7:30 to 9. And 4:30 in the afternoon to 5:30, 6. So 1.5 hours in the evening and 1.5 hours in the morning. Those hours, especially when the people go to work and come back from work, you will expect a lot of traffic. Normal times, not in the COVID times. So make sure you get an accommodation within that area. So if you get a job in Amsterdam, try to live in the area of Amsterdam. Let's say try to live in Amstelveen or Utrecht, which has a train station, which is you can go to Amsterdam within 10 minutes by train. So based on that, pick a place where you can live. Usually, if your employer is good enough, which my employer was, they arranged a housing for me. It's not like a dorm housing. They just talk to some agency, and the agency got me a house, and I need to pay the rent. But they arranged that part, so that was good for me. But a lot of employers, they don't do that. So for that, you need to look at some housing situation, which you can look at based on which city you are going to, Amsterdam, Utrecht, or any other cities. Look, there are some Facebook groups, especially if you come to Utrecht. They have a lot of group, Utrecht Rooms, Utrecht Housing, Expat Utrecht. There are a lot of groups that you can look for, and you can also look at funda.nl, funda.nl. So funda.nl is a site where you can look for houses for buying and also for rent. But you have to be very lucky. So let's say you're coming to the Netherlands 3 months later, you have to do it 6 months before, because it's very, very difficult to find a house. But if you are lucky enough, you get an employer like me, that I got, they will arrange everything for you. Or you can ask your employer, like, hey, I heard that the accommodation is very, very, it's very low, so it's very difficult. Can you help us? So they will help you. Anyway, I think I did a lot of details as what you should do, where you should go, what is the thing that you have to take care of before you come, or before you want to come to the Netherlands as a knowledge migrant. So I will move to the next phase.
Sure.
Which is the life. Now, why you should choose Netherlands? Why? What are the reason why you should come to the Netherlands? The things that I experienced, based on that, I listed some point here. Because when I was coming to the Netherlands, my employer gave me some links from Wikipedia to study about the Dutch culture and history, how those people are, what are their social norms, and what I should take care of. So what I found out, that I was very antisocial based on the kind of person I am. Because the Netherlands is very balanced. Everything is very balanced, is very flat. So the Dutch people, they don't bullshit. Like, they don't say something that they don't mean. So you have to be very straightforward. It doesn't matter if it's a bitter thing, or it's a thing that you shouldn't tell on the face, but you can. Yeah. So in other cultures, what they are thinking, like, oh my God, should I say it? Let's say, for example, Dutch people will tell you, you're getting fat, but it's offensive. Huh? But they will just tell you because they want to, or they will tell you, maybe you shouldn't wear this shirt, it's too black. But that's not his business, right? That's your business. Whatever, you can wear whatever you want. But they will tell you that. So this is this example that they talk very straight. They will tell you everything that they think not good for their side. So, but it's also the plus point. The good side is you can look at them as an open book. So everybody will speak their mind, right? It's very straightforward. It's very balanced. It's very flat. They don't take orders from anyone, including their prime minister. So it's very liberal. It's very liberal. There is no sir. There is no concept of sir in work. You call each other with your first name. It doesn't matter. He's a director, he's an MD, he's a CEO. You call with the first name. No, doesn't matter. Do not use sir in the workplace. There is no sir. You are your sir. Okay. So there's no point or no need to even ask everybody, or what do you call oiling? There is nothing here in the Netherlands. If you are capable enough, that's fine. People will come to you. So there is no you don't have to politics in your work. So that comes to work-life balance. Is very good. It's very good balance. So you have minimum, you get 25 days per year, and in the Netherlands, you get what we call vakantiegeld, means vacation money. They will give you, doesn't matter if you're a janitor, if you're a driver, whatever, everybody gets that. Everybody gets their 8% of their gross annual salary as a vacation money, where they spend when they go on vacation. So this is from the government, it's the rule. Everybody gets it. Doesn't matter what you do. So the work-life balance in the Netherlands is very, very, very good. I think it's one of the best countries to live in, where you can have really good work and can have a life, which is very important. Because America, in other countries, people work their ass off, but they get paid a lot, of course. But the amount of things that they can get from the government or from the society are very, very less. So you go burnout, you're tired. Um, this is not going to happen here unless you really want to. So the culture here is very, like I told you already, is very flat. Especially if you work in a Dutch environment, it's very flat. So the government, especially in the government environment, you can say whatever you think is important. You can discuss everything. You can put everything on the table, and you can discuss everything from your side. You can let them know, hey, this is what I feel, without even thinking, what if someone thinks something else? Which I find very good. Especially, you don't have to think about anything. If you find something bad, you just say, hey, sorry, I don't find it good. I don't find it better. Maybe you can do it like this. And if you have a logic, they will listen to you. So the work culture is very flat, I would say. No hierarchy, no sir, no manager, no nothing. You have a boss who runs the company, and the rest, the managers, assistant manager, whatever, VC, is your colleague. So you don't have to think about, oh, this is my senior, this is my superior. You don't have to give a damn about anything. Be yourself. Which is also in local and international organizations. But international organizations, based on where they came from, let's say some Japanese company come to the Netherlands, or some German company come to the Netherlands, or some American company come to the Netherlands, they have their own culture. German companies are very hierarchical, where you follow orders. If your boss said do it, you gotta do it, but not in the Dutch company. No. But still, if they are working in the Netherlands, they also have to take care of the Dutch culture, because they also have to be open-minded. They also have to be flat. And the other thing is a team player mindset. It's very, very, very important. Also in a society, your personal life and your work life. Because especially a lot of places in the world, especially in the US and in Asia, people work in a team, and they want to portray them as the alpha. Hey, I am the guy, or I'm the person who's doing most work. So you should pay me more. You should make me senior, or give me promotion, and the rest is shit. Sorry for the S word, but that's what they say, what they think. But if you do that in the Netherlands, you are in big trouble. You can't survive like that. You have to be a team player. So even if you are above everybody, maybe if you're a genius and you can do a lot of things, you have to look at what other people are doing, what your teams are doing. If someone is very weak, you can say, hey, you are not my team member. You're very weak. You can't do your work. Get the hell out. You can't say that. You have to respect everybody. So even if you are a genius, you have to play dumb in order to be a team player. So samenwerken is a Dutch word, working together. This word is very important for Dutch society and for the work environment. They look for a person who can play in a team. They don't want someone who is the alpha, who say, oh, I am the guy. 99% companies, they don't like that behavior. So don't be that guy. If you are talking in an interview, in a place, show them that you're a team player, and show them that you can work in a team. So this is very important. And you can also tell them, I can work in a team, and I can also work standalone if you need me to, which is a plus. But if you can't work in a team, you're out. You're not a good person. So they look for the soft skills first, because they have money. They can train you to be a best engineer on the world. But if you are an asshole, they can fix that. So they don't want an asshole in their company. They want a nice person who can play with other person, who have a good profile, good personality. And if you're smart, you can train them, right? So what they look for is a smart guy, is a smart person who can pick up things very quickly, and a team player, and a very good someone who can really nice to talk to, because they love talking and they love making conversation. So make sure that you have those soft skills on you. It's very important. I'm telling you, I can't stress this enough. It's very, it doesn't matter if you are a tremendous coder, you're tremendous at what you do. Doesn't matter, man. If you don't have these skills, it's very hard to get through the interview. So that's my experience. And of course, you have to be respectful of others people's time. That means if you make an assignment, sorry, there's a Dutch, okay, I'm going back to the Dutch sayings. There's a Dutch saying called afspraak is an afspraak, means appointment is an appointment. So if you make an appointment at 9, make sure you be there at 8:45. If you're late, let them know I'm going to be late because I had this and that. But let them know before half an hour. If you don't let them know and you're late, you're not serious. It doesn't matter. You are very creative. You're very nice. You're very good person. You're skilled. But if you're not on time, if you don't respect others' time, you will be fired. I have colleagues who got fired just because of that. I have colleagues who worked in one company for 20 years. They worked in one company for 20 years, but then they become late for something, maybe some physical problem, maybe some personal problem, maybe some family problem. But if you have them, let them know. If you don't let them know, then they will think you are not serious. And he got fired at the end. So be very, very careful about timing. If you think you'll be late for the traffic and everything, start 2 hours early. Be on time, because it's not your time. Other people are also waiting for you. So take care of what they are thinking. And it's not only for the work, huh? It's also for your social life. If you have a dinner invitation at 5, don't go there at 5:30. If you have a 5 o'clock dinner invitation, be there at 4:45. It's also very important for social life. It's not only for the work life. So train yourself. If you have that problem, if you can't reach on time, your word is your value. If you say something to someone, make sure that you work by it, right? And lastly, keep an open mind. It's a very, very important part. Be open, keep an open mind. If you came from a country which is very religious, could be a Muslim country, could be a Hindu country, could be some Catholic country, I don't know. Religion, or especially your beliefs, your sexual orientation, you can be straight, you can be gay, you can be lesbian, LGBT, whatever. This is not important here. So this is not important. It is the person what matters. It doesn't matter what he believes in. So don't propagate your beliefs to others in public. Don't do that. Because here, the society doesn't care if you're a Muslim or Hindu or you pray 5 times a day. They don't give a damn about that. So don't propagate, don't say, oh, I'm this and that, so I don't do this and that. It's completely up to you, completely personal thing. So religion is a private thing. Don't propagate it. Yeah? So a lot of people do that here in the Netherlands, and what happens is basically there are few of my colleagues also did that. And what happens is they become isolated from the society. The people don't talk to them anymore. So they are not welcome in the group. So don't be the bad guy here. Maybe if you have to be an open mind. So there are a lot of people here. There are a lot of types of people. You will see things in the street, and if you react to that, you are an outsider. So which is also the team player mindset that you can bring in, that you have to, wherever you are, there you are, right? So don't think about what's right or what's wrong. Think about where you are and what is right here, what is wrong here. So think about be like have an open mind. And a lot of people can't accept that sometimes. I have colleagues who has problems and who left. So it's very important. So this is what you have to have, like, for being, that will make you competent to fit in the society very easily. Although it's very hard. It's very hard. So you have to work on it a lot. Life of a person who is a foreigner and who comes to the Netherlands, it's not only because of what he knows. It doesn't matter what he knows, but he has to work harder than normal Dutch person because he has to integrate to the society, has to make friends, has to have a life, and at the same time work. So this is double. This is the thing that you have to take. So don't come here if you don't have the interest, or don't even try to do something like that. Then you will be frustrated in 2 months, and you think, oh, where am I? Why I came here? I should go back. So that just my experience I shared. Um, it will be helpful probably for you guys already if you want to come to the Netherlands and you're thinking about it. It's a beautiful country, but at the same time you have to think a lot of things. So that brings me to my last section, which is if you want to stay here permanently, or would you? Um, I have colleagues who came here after 1 year, they got bored. I have colleagues who came here and after 3 months they said, nah, this is not my country. So there are a lot of things can happen. And I suggest you to listen to your heart, because I believe if you're just doing it just for the sake of doing it, don't do it. It has to come from yourself, because then you can portray that. Because if you are imitating something but you're not believing in it, it will show at your work, it will show at your social life, it will show everywhere. So that actually brings to the point where if you really want to stay in the Netherlands permanently, what will you have to do, or what will you should do? Which I already mentioned a few things already. That language and cultural development is very important, that you understand what Dutch people, how Dutch people are. And I should mention here that they have a very sharing culture. It means they have a saying. I don't know if you guys know this saying. It's called going Dutch. When someone say, let's go Dutch, that means let's share. Let's say you guys, 10 people are eating in a restaurant, and everybody are friends. They're friends, girls, guys, it doesn't matter. So after you finish your meal, when someone say, let's go Dutch, that means let's pay individually. That also applies when you are in a date. So if you're in a date, let's say with a girl or a guy, you can really say, hey, let's go Dutch. Because a lot of countries, especially in Asia or in US, guy pays, right? So when you have a date, when you are a date, the guy pays. But don't make that mistake here, because everybody is equal here. Even everybody is 50-50, right? So sometimes when you really want to pay, you can ask, can I pay for your share? And if the person says no, then don't push it. Because sometimes it can be very offensive to someone. Let's say if you are really pushing it, no, I pay. But then the other person will say, oh, so you think I'm not capable enough to pay my own bills? So be very careful about that. So the culture is very 50-50. It's very, very sharing culture. So it's not the one person pay everything and other person just sit there doing nothing. And it's the other way around as well. So the culture is very strong, especially in European countries. They don't really trust someone if you are not one of them. And to become one of them, to become trustworthy, you need to work really hard. You need to have an open mind. You need to understand what they're saying, why they're saying it, and just for once, forget about your stuff. Forget about things that you left behind. Why I'm saying this? Maybe it sounds very weird to you, because a lot of people, especially people from China, from Bangladesh, from America, they came to the Netherlands and they only have American friends. People from Bangladesh only have Bengali friends. So what happened here? You don't speak Dutch. You don't know what's going on in the society. You always hang around with your own people, which you can do in your own country. So I don't see the point why you came here. So make sure that you get more knowledge from the country itself, from the people itself. Talk to the locals, mingle with the locals, go to the bars, go to the places where they hang out, talk to them, get knowledge. This is good for you, because I had a house which is surrounded by Dutch people. So it happens like all Bengali people or Americans, they think I hate them. That's why I didn't stay with them. I don't talk to them. But that's not the case. I wanted to study, I wanted to develop my knowledge about the society, and that you can only do by talking to other people, talking to the Dutch people, let's say. So, how they work, how they think things. So, that also makes you, most importantly, the knowledge of Dutch society. So the Dutch society, how they are. Huh? So if they are weird, why they are weird? Everybody's weird, right? So you have to understand that. And the most important thing that you really need to have is a diploma. Well, in Europe, especially in the Netherlands, you have a diploma for everything. If you want to swim, you need a diploma. If you want to cut hair, you need a diploma. So this is not something different. If you want to become Dutch, you need a diploma. And the diploma you get by attending a few exams. So just like the IELTS exam, you have listening, reading, writing, speaking. And there is also another part is called KNM. KNM, the Dutch is Kennis van Nederlandse Maatschappij, means knowledge of Dutch society. So there is an exam you have to face, you have to pass of Dutch knowledge. So you can't pass that exam unless you really know the society. So in order to get a PR, you need a diploma. And that diploma has an exam called KNM. And in that exam, if you need to pass, you need to know the Dutch society. And the rest, the four other parts, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, those are on Dutch language. So make sure your language is good before you apply for the diploma. But there are some level. So there are 0, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. C2 is native, 0 is you have nothing. So to get an integration diploma, you need at least A2. So that means you need to have 10,000 or more Dutch words in your head. Which I will not ask you to memorize them. I will ask you to practice. So I will ask you to talk. I will ask you that you get the Dutch word you get by reading, by writing, by talking to the Dutch people, which is very, very essential. I mean, this is only needed if you really want to stay in the Netherlands forever. But if you think, oh, after 2 years I'm gone, or after 3 years I'm gone, you don't need that anymore. But I don't think that you should come and leave within 1 year, because then you're coming here and you have a dream and you have something, and then after 1 year maybe you say, oh shit, I go somewhere else, you know. So this is not for them. This is not for the quitters. This is for the people who can stay for a long time, like me. I've been staying. I already applied for my PR and I got my diploma within 2 years, I think. So the diploma, once you get a diploma, it has no ending date, it has no validity, so it stays valid forever. But you cannot apply for a PR before 5 years before. You have to wait 5 years, and then if you stay in the Netherlands for 5 years, you can apply for a PR. But if you have a Dutch national, if you have a partnership with a Dutch national, you can do that after 3 years. I didn't, so for my case, I had to do it after 5 years. So that goes to the last point, is applying for PR. That is basically what I already discussed a little bit, but it's completely up to you. PR naturalization is different because the thing is that first you apply for PR. That means you get what we call it is a unlimited as an ID, as a registration ID, which is valid for unlimited time. It says onbepaalde tijd, means unlimited time, the category. But it's also it's like a passport. So you get one and you have to renew it every 5 years. It's validity is for 5 years, but you get it once and then you're done. And the naturalization is the process where you become Dutch. So there is a PR, permanent residency, which is you stay at your own nationality. Let's say you're American. So if you get a PR, you get to have you get to keep your American passport, and you can get a PR in the Netherlands. That means you're a permanent resident, so you can live, you can stay, you can work indefinitely in the Netherlands, but you become an American. You stay an American. But a naturalization is a process where you leave your nationality and you become Dutch. So that takes 1,000 euros for applying, and it takes a year for the process. So you can apply for citizenship, but make sure that you really want to. Because some countries they can keep their passport, but there are some countries they can't. So which countries they can keep their passport or have a dual nationality, can have a dual nationality, you can find that also in IND website, end.nl. You can go there, and they have a list of countries. If you are from those countries, then maybe you can keep or you can't. So they explained it why, and why you should, uh, what should happen if you apply for a naturalization. So based on what you are looking for, based on what you can also say, hey, PR is good for me. I don't want to leave my passport. I want to keep it. In that case, you can. So let's say for if you are coming from America, I think you can keep it. For Bangladesh as well, you can keep it. And if you are from Turkey or from other countries which are in EU, let's say, I mean Turkey is not EU, but a little bit more. And also from Switzerland, let's say, Switzerland is not EU but Schengen. So if you are a Swiss national and you want to apply for naturalization in the Netherlands, I think you have to say goodbye to your Swiss nationality. So there are some countries they can keep it, and there are some countries they can't. So you have to look at the list at the website. They have all the information. So based on what you want to do, based on what you can do, you make your decision. So I would suggest you, everybody, I hope you get some knowledge. I hope you get something. I hope I could explain it more about other sides, like as a student or refugee. I couldn't because I came here as a knowledge migrant, so I can only explain on my part. But I suggest you two guys to look at the IND before you come here, ind.nl, the website, um, to know more about the to know more about the immigration process. And also for job seekers, I would suggest you to work on your CV, work on your cover letter, work on your LinkedIn, and apply responsibly. And hopefully, if you really want to if you get to come to the Netherlands, last but not the least, be prepared for worst weather. It's very, very bad. The weather is very bad here. It rains a lot. I'm not saying every day, but it rains a lot. Make sure you have an umbrella and a raincoat with you, because it's very cold. It's a rainy country, and you will appreciate the sun more if you come to the Netherlands. And you will probably miss your country more, because if your country has a really nice tropical weather. So this is it for my side. I think I tried to elaborate a little bit more about my experience, and I hope that helped a lot of people out there. And I wish you guys all the best.
Thanks a lot, bhai, for a nice discussion. I
You're welcome.
think we get detailed information about the process.
So
Thanks a lot.
if you want if you have some questions, or if you want to ask some specifically some questions or anything at all, I am reachable in Facebook. My Facebook is shared already in the page, so you can reach me there. You can text me there, um, and yeah, you can email me as well at tarek.sazeb. It's a TAREK dot SAAZEB at yahoo.com. Also reachable there. You can email me. If you have any question, anything, feel free to ask.
So, bhai, thanks a lot for giving us time.
No
Uh,
problem.
Hopefully, we will get you
Yes, of
again.
course. Sure, I would love to.
Okay. If you have any message to our audience, you can share.
Okay. Well, I've already discussed a few things, but I would ask the audiences right now who are watching in different part of the world. I would ask you first one thing that you really need to ask yourself if you because moving in a different country or in a new country, especially if you don't travel much, it can be a very very big thing for you. Fortunately, I travel a lot, so for me, moving to some new places, some other places, I am very used to, not very, but bit used to, because I lived in other countries before Netherlands as well. So I know moving can have a very vast impact on your life, on your social, and also in your work life. So be very be very sure about before you move into the Netherlands. I'm not saying just make sure that you can survive, because not a lot of people um, can accept the fact that, oh, I why did I came here and it's really bad weather. Oh no, really big taxes. I don't like it. I don't like it. So, but it's a very beautiful country. I mean, if you ask me, it's a small country, but it's very beautiful, and I like the way the society works here, and I like the way the government or the economy or whatever you call it, it's arranged here. I'm a person who always look for a life before work, and there are a lot of people that only focus on their work and their work is their life. But for me, it's not. So I also have keep a private life. Yeah, besides my job. So for me, it's an ideal country because it's a very good work-life balanced country. So I prefer living here than anywhere else. If you ask me to go back or go live in US or any countries in Asia, I would think twice. Although I'm paying a lot of taxes, but I know that in return I'm getting a lot of things back. So what I can tell you guys, be very specific about or be very sure about what you really want to do. And I can guarantee you, if you really have that mindset, if you can keep an open mind, you can have an open mind to learn a new language and grow with a new environment. Because there it's not a very, they say it's multicultural, but you really need to get inside the society. So it's not a US. Like in US they have Chinatown, so when you're in Chinatown you feel like you're in China. They have little Bangladesh. If you go there you feel like you are in Bangladesh, right? But here it's not. So if you're expecting that, you're not expecting the right thing. So I suggest you to consider that before you really come. Work, you can really get it. I mean, if you're good enough, you really get there, and you can really have that move. But make sure if you really willing to do that, you have what it takes. And that's it. I wish you guys good luck, and stay strong in the COVID situation, because it's a situation that is true for all of us. So let's pray for each other.
Okay, bhai. Thank you very much for giving us time. Hopefully, we get you soon.
Yes,
Okay.
I would love to talk to you again. No problem. Have a very
Okay.
good time.
Thanks all for being with us. Uh, Bye for
Thank you
today.
for thank you for the opportunity, Zarul. I really liked it. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Okay, good night. Bye bye.